The NSS Vengeance materialized near Earth's shattered remains, its massive hull gleaming in the stark light of the distant sun. After 3,000 years, humans had returned to avenge Earth's destruction. Captain Russell Turner stood on the bridge, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays. He surveyed the debris field that was once humanity's cradle, a grim reminder of the Draconis Empire's devastating attack millennia ago. The weight of history pressed upon him as he activated the ship's advanced sensors. "Scan complete, Captain. No other human vessels detected in the solar system," reported the sensor officer. Turner nodded, his jaw set with determination. "Initiate stealth approach towards Mars. Our intelligence suggests a Draconis outpost there." As the Vengeance glided silently through space, Turner accessed classified historical records. The data streamed before his eyes, detailing Earth's obliteration and the secret evacuation of a fraction of humanity to a distant galaxy. For 3,000 years, these survivors had dedicated themselves to technological advancement and military preparation, all for this moment of retribution. The ship's AI announced their arrival in Mars orbit. Turner's mission was clear: assess Draconis defenses, gather intelligence on their current capabilities, and lay the groundwork for humanity's full-scale invasion to reclaim their lost home. An alert flashed on the main screen. "Automated Draconis patrol ship detected, Captain," the tactical officer reported. Turner's eyes narrowed. "Disable it. Use the EMP cannons. We need that ship intact." The weapons officer complied, firing a precision electromagnetic pulse. The Draconis vessel went dark, drifting lifelessly in space. "Boarding party, prepare for immediate deployment," Turner ordered. "Extract all data and technology you can find." As the team launched towards the disabled alien ship, alarms blared on the Martian surface. In a fortified command center, Corvus, a high-ranking Draconis military commander, received an alert about the lost patrol ship. His reptilian features contorted with suspicion. "Initiate system-wide scan for anomalies," Corvus hissed. "Mobilize the defense fleet. Something's not right." Unaware of the Draconis response, the human boarding party breached the alien ship's hull. They worked swiftly, downloading the computer core and searching for useful technology. As data streamed into their devices, one of the team members gasped. "Captain, you need to see this," she transmitted to Turner. "They're conducting experiments with human DNA recovered from Earth's remains." Turner's blood ran cold. The stakes had just risen dramatically. If the Draconis unlocked the genetic secrets that made humanity a formidable adversary 3 millennia ago, the coming war could be over before it began. Time was running out. The risk of detection grew with each passing moment. Captain Turner faced a critical decision: abort the mission and retreat with the intelligence already gathered, or push forward to uncover more vital information that could give humanity the edge in their vengeance against the Draconis. As klaxons began to sound throughout the Vengeance, signaling the approach of Draconis ships, Turner knew his choice would shape the future of this millennia-spanning conflict. The moment of reckoning had arrived, 3,000 years in the making. Captain Turner's mind raced as he assessed the situation. The klaxons blared, signaling the approach of Draconis ships, but the intelligence about human DNA experiments was too valuable to abandon. "Boarding party, you have 5 minutes to complete data extraction and return," Turner ordered through the comm. "Tactical, prepare for evasive maneuvers. Navigation, plot a series of micro-jumps around Mars." The bridge crew sprang into action. Lieutenant Commander Chen, the navigation officer, input a complex series of coordinates, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. "Micro-jump sequence plotted and ready, Captain," Chen reported. Turner nodded. "Execute on my mark." The seconds ticked by agonizingly slow as Turner waited for the boarding party to return. Just as the Draconis ships appeared on long-range sensors, the airlock cycled. "Boarding party secured," the deck officer announced. "Mark," Turner commanded. The Vengeance vanished in a burst of light, reappearing seconds later on the opposite side of Mars. Before the Draconis sensors could lock on, they jumped again and again, creating a dizzying pattern of sensor ghosts around the red planet. On the Martian surface, Corvus stared at the chaotic sensor readings, his scaled brow furrowed in confusion and alarm. "Impossible," he hissed. "There are at least a dozen human warships. How did they penetrate our defenses undetected?" He turned to his subordinates. "Launch all available ships, investigate every signature." As the Martian defense fleet scattered to chase phantoms, Turner seized the opportunity. He positioned the Vengeance directly above the primary Draconis facility, engaging their advanced cloaking technology. "Major Gordon, prepare your team for immediate deployment," Turner ordered. "Your mission is to infiltrate the Draconis base and gather all possible intelligence on their genetic research." Major Sarah Gordon, a stern-faced woman with close-cropped gray hair, nodded sharply. "Understood, Captain. My team is ready." Gordon's infiltration team dropped silently from the Vengeance, using personal stealth fields to avoid detection. They breached the outer defenses of the Draconis facility with practiced ease, disabling security systems and neutralizing guards without raising alarms. As they penetrated deeper into the complex, Gordon held up a fist, signaling her team to halt. Ahead, a massive door marked with Draconis glyphs stood before them. "This is it," Gordon whispered. "Prepare for breach." The door hissed open, revealing a vast laboratory filled with glowing tanks and complex machinery. Inside, Draconis scientists moved between workstations, their scaled hands manipulating holographic displays showing DNA helixes and cellular structures. Gordon's eyes widened as she took in the scene. "My God," she breathed. "They're not just studying human DNA, they're improving it." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ramos, pointed to a row of larger tanks at the far end of the lab. "Major, look." Floating in the murky fluid were humanoid forms, but with distinct Draconis features: scaled patches of skin, elongated skulls, and wickedly curved claws. Hybrids, Gordon realized. They're creating Draconis human hybrids. As Gordon's team worked to download data and collect samples, Turner received an urgent alert on the Vengeance's bridge. "Captain, long-range sensors have detected a massive Draconis battleship entering the system," reported the sensor officer. It's unlike anything we've ever seen." Turner's eyes sharp as he studied the incoming data. "Identify." "Designation Scalebearer. It appears to be the flagship of High Admiral Zexkral." The name sent a chill through the bridge crew. Zexkral was a legend among the Draconis, a warrior of unparalleled skill and cunning. "How long until it reaches Mars?" Turner asked. "At current speed, less than 30 minutes, sir." Turner opened a secure channel to Gordon's team. "Major, time is running short. A Draconis battleship is inbound. You have 15 minutes to complete your mission and return to extraction coordinates." "Understood, Captain," Gordon replied. "We're nearly at contact." The comm channel filled with the sounds of energy weapons and shouted orders. Gordon's team had encountered a group of Draconi soldiers, but these were different. They moved with inhuman speed and strength, shrugging off shots that would have felled normal Draconis. "It's the hybrids," Ramos shouted over the din of battle. "They're fully grown and combat-ready." Gordon's team fought with every ounce of skill and experience they possessed. They used the laboratory equipment as cover, set up crossfires, and employed advanced tactics to counter the hybrids' raw power. But time was running out. On the Vengeance, Turner made a series of rapid-fire decisions. He ordered the deployment of advanced decoy drones, each programmed to emit signals mimicking human warships. As the drones scattered across the Martian orbit, creating the illusion of a massive invasion fleet, Turner prepared for extraction. "Break stealth on my mark," he ordered. "Weapons, prepare a full spread of EMP charges. We'll use Mars's magnetic field to amplify the effect." The Vengeance decloaked in a burst of energy, its sudden appearance catching the Draconis defense fleet off guard. Turner's gambit worked. The combination of decoy drones and the Vengeance's dramatic reveal threw the Draconis into chaos. Seizing the moment, Turner pushed the Vengeance into a steep dive towards the Martian surface. The ship's hull glowed as it plunged through the atmosphere, expertly weaving between streams of defensive fire. Inside the Draconis facility, Gordon's team fought their way to the extraction point. They moved in a tight formation, covering each other's retreat as they fended off waves of hybrid soldiers. "There," Gordon shouted, pointing to a hole that had been blasted in the facility's roof. The Vengeance hovered above, its hangar bay open and inviting. "Go, go, go," Gordon urged her team. One by one, they made running leaps into the ship's open maw, Gordon herself the last to jump as hybrid claws grasped at her heels. The instant Gordon's boots hit the hangar deck, Turner gave the order. "Full power to engines, get us out of here." The Vengeance rocketed away from Mars, pushing its advanced propulsion system to the limit. Behind them, the Scalebearer entered orbit, its massive form dwarfing the other Draconis ships. High Admiral Zexkral, his eyes narrow slits of fury, realized the true nature of the attack. "Pursue that ship," he roared. "They must not escape." But the Vengeance's superior speed and the lingering chaos caused by the decoy drones allowed Turner and his crew to gain a crucial lead. As they raced towards the asteroid belt, Turner knew their mission was not nearly finished. "Set course for the coordinates we extracted from the Draconis patrol ship," he ordered. "We need to locate that superweapon before Zexkral can stop us." The Vengeance streaked through space, carrying with it intelligence that could turn the tide of a war 3 millennia in the making. But first, they had to survive long enough to use it. The Vengeance streaked through space, its advanced engines pushing the ship to its limits as it raced towards the asteroid belt. Captain Turner stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the tactical display showing their pursuers falling behind. "Engage stealth systems," Turner ordered. "Let's see if we can shake them off our tail." Lieutenant Commander Chen nodded, her fingers dancing across the control panel. The ship's exterior shimmered as layers of adaptive camouflage activated, bending light and absorbing electromagnetic signals. Within moments, the Vengeance had all but disappeared from the visible spectrum. "Stealth systems engaged, Captain," Chen reported. "We're running silent." Turner allowed himself a small nod of satisfaction. "Excellent. Now let's see what our Martian friends were so eager to hide from us." In the ship's main laboratory, Major Gordon stood over a holographic display, her face illuminated by the swirling data streams extracted from the Draconis base. Despite the lingering ache in her muscles from the intense firefight, her mind was sharp, focused on decoding the alien information. "There's something here," she muttered, manipulating the hologram with practiced gestures, a recurring pattern in their weapons research data. Dr. Eliza Frost, the ship's lead xenobiologist, leaned in closer. "I see it too. It's not just weapons data. There's a biological component." For hours, they pored over the stolen intelligence, cross-referencing it with their existing knowledge of Draconis technology. As the pieces began to fall into place, a chill ran down Gordon's spine. "Captain," she called over the comm, "you need to see this." Turner arrived in the lab moments later, his expression grim as Gordon and Frost explained their findings. The location of the Draconis superweapon was revealed, a hollowed-out dwarf planet deep in the asteroid belt. "We can't pass up this opportunity," Turner said, his mind already racing with potential strategies. "Set a course for those coordinates. We need to gather as much intel on that weapon as possible." As the Vengeance carefully navigated the treacherous expanse of the asteroid belt, tension on the bridge ratcheted up. Massive chunks of rock and metal drifted past the viewports, a maze of celestial debris that could easily crush their ship. "Multiple contacts detected," the sensor officer announced suddenly, Draconis signatures spreading out in a search pattern. Turner's eyes narrowed. "Zexkral," he said, recognizing the tactics of his adversary. "He's trying to flush us out." The bridge crew held their breath as a swarm of Draconis drones passed within meters of their hull, the Vengeance's stealth systems pushed to their limits. Turner knew they were walking a razor's edge. One false move, one miscalculation, and they'd be swarmed by the full might of the Draconis fleet. After what felt like an eternity, the ship emerged from the densest part of the asteroid belt. Ahead, a massive structure came into view, the dwarf planet that housed the Draconis superweapon. My God, Chen whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the sight. The dwarf planet's surface was crisscrossed with glowing energy conduits, all converging on a colossal cannon protruding from one pole. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of reducing entire worlds to ash. Begin full-spectrum analysis, Turner ordered. I want every scrap of data we can get on that thing. As the Vengeance's sensors probed the superweapon, alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Their scan had triggered the facility's defense systems. Draconis fleet incoming, the tactical officer shouted. Multiple capital ships, including the scale-bearer. Turner's mind raced, considering and discarding options in split seconds. Deploy nuclear mines, he commanded. Pattern Zeta, prepare for emergency burn on my mark. The ship shuddered as it released a cluster of high-yield mines, each one precisely placed to create a domino effect in the asteroid field. As the Draconis fleet closed in, Turner gave the order. Detonate mines, full power to engines. The Vengeance lurched forward as behind them, a chain of explosions rippled through space. Asteroids shattered and collided, creating a massive debris field that blinded Draconis sensors and forced their ships to halt their advance. Taking advantage of the chaos, Turner pushed the Vengeance to its structural limits, the ship's frame groaning under the strain as they accelerated out of the asteroid belt and towards the outer solar system. In the aftermath of their narrow escape, Major Gordon made a chilling discovery in the Martian data. Captain, she said, her voice tense, the Draconis aren't just creating hybrids. They're developing a biological weapon specifically designed to target human physiology. Turner absorbed this new information, the weight of it settling heavily on his shoulders. The stakes had just risen exponentially. He gave a sharp nod to his communications officer. Prepare a long-range burst transmission to home base. Encrypt it with our highest-level codes. As the encrypted message was sent, Turner knew they had just painted an even larger target on their backs. The sudden spike in communication would undoubtedly be detected by Draconis sensors, despite its encryption. His suspicions were confirmed moments later when the tactical display lit up with new contacts. A Draconis battle group, previously hidden in Jupiter's shadow, moved to cut off their escape route. Turner surveyed the tactical situation, his mind working furiously. They were caught in a pincer movement, with Zexkral's forces closing in from behind and this new threat ahead. Conventional tactics would lead to their certain destruction. Helm, Turner said, his voice calm despite the dire circumstances. Set course for Jupiter. We're going in. Chen looked at him in shock. Sir? Jupiter's atmosphere will tear us apart. Not if we do it right, Turner replied. We'll use the storms to mask our signature and the magnetic field to disrupt their sensors. It's a risk, but it's our best shot. As the Vengeance approached the gas giant, the crew braced themselves. The ship plunged into the upper layers of Jupiter's atmosphere, buffeted by winds many times stronger than any hurricane on Earth. Alarms blared as the hull temperature spiked and external sensors began to fail. Hull integrity at 82% and falling, Chen reported, her voice tight with tension. Turner gripped his command chair, feeling every shudder and groan of the ship. Hold it together, he muttered, as much to the Vengeance as to his crew. Through swirling clouds of ammonia and water vapor, past lightning bolts the size of continents, the Vengeance fought its way deeper into Jupiter's atmosphere. The pursuing Draconis ships, unable to match the human vessel's maneuverability, fell back, their sensors scrambled by the intense electromagnetic interference. As they emerged from the other side of Jupiter, battered but unbroken, Turner allowed himself a small smile. They had escaped, and with them, they carried information vital to humanity's survival. But he knew their journey was just the beginning. The Draconis would not give up the chase easily, and the revelations about the superweapon and biological warfare had changed the entire complexion of the coming conflict. "And plot a course for the Kuiper Belt," Turner ordered. "We need to find a place to make repairs and plan our next move." As the Vengeance limped away from Jupiter, its hull scorched and systems strained to their limits, the crew knew that their actions in the coming days would shape the future of the entire human race. The real battle, it seemed, was only just beginning. The Vengeance emerged from Jupiter's swirling clouds, its hull scorched and systems strained to their limits. Captain Turner's daring maneuver had paid off, but the ship and crew were far from safe. "Status report," Turner barked, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Lieutenant Commander Chen's fingers flew over her console. "Hull integrity at 64%, Captain. Multiple systems reporting damage. We've lost long-range sensors and our starboard weapons array." Turner nodded grimly. "Plot a course for Saturn. We need to find a place to make repairs and plan our next move." As the Vengeance limped away from Jupiter, the crew could see the Draconis fleet scrambling to regroup. High Admiral Zexkral's massive flagship, the Scalebearer, loomed ominously in the distance. "They're not giving up the chase," Major Gordon observed, her voice tight with tension. "No, they're not," Turner agreed. "But we've bought ourselves some time. Let's make the most of it." The journey to Saturn was fraught with tension. Every creak and groan of the ship's stressed hull sent ripples of anxiety through the crew. In engineering, Chief Engineer Marcus Reeves worked tirelessly, his face slick with sweat as he fought to keep the Vengeance's systems operational. "Reroute power from the non-essential systems," Reeves ordered his team. "We need to keep the engines and life support running at all costs." As they approached Saturn, the ship's remaining sensors detected an unusual energy signature emanating from Titan, the planet's largest moon. "Captain," Chen called out, "I'm picking up Draconis energy patterns from Titan. It looks like some kind of research outpost." Turner's mind raced with possibilities. "It could be connected to their biological weapons program. We need to investigate, but not before we've made repairs." He made a decision. "Take us into Saturn's rings. We'll use the debris as cover while we make repairs and formulate a plan." The Vengeance glided into the icy disk surrounding Saturn, its adaptive camouflage blending seamlessly with the surrounding fragments. For the next several days, the crew worked around the clock to repair the ship's damaged systems. In the makeshift war room, Turner gathered his senior officers. "We have an opportunity here," he began, gesturing to the holographic display of Titan. "This outpost could provide us with crucial intelligence on the Draconis biological weapon." Major Gordon leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "I can lead a small team to infiltrate the facility. We'll use a modified shuttle to approach under the cover of Titan's methane storms." Turner nodded. "Make it happen, Major, but be prepared for anything. Zexkral isn't one to leave his assets undefended." As Gordon assembled her team and prepared for the mission, Turner focused on re-establishing communication with the human fleet. Using short, encrypted bursts to avoid detection, he updated Earth on their findings and the potential threat of the Draconis bioweapon. Unknown to the crew of the Vengeance, their presence had not gone unnoticed. Deep within the shadows of Saturn's rings, a lone Draconis ship observed the human vessel with great interest. Its commander, a rogue scientist named Lysithea, watched the Vengeance with a mixture of curiosity and hope. "Fascinating," Lysithea murmured, her scaled fingers tracing the outline of the human ship on her view screen. "Perhaps they are the key to ending this war." As the day of the Titan mission dawned, tension aboard the Vengeance reached a fever pitch. Gordon's team made final preparations, checking and rechecking their gear. "Remember," Gordon addressed her team, "we go in quiet and fast. Our primary objective is intelligence gathering. Avoid engagement unless absolutely necessary." In the shuttle bay, Turner saw off the infiltration team. "Good hunting, Major," he said, clasping Gordon's arm. "We'll be monitoring from here, ready to extract you at a moment's notice." The shuttle departed, quickly disappearing into the dense atmosphere of Titan. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Turner watched the mission unfold through the shuttle's transmissions. Gordon's voice crackled over the comm. "Approaching the facility now, no signs of—" "Wait." There was a pause filled with static. "Captain, we're picking up multiple signals. Heavy encryption. This is more than just a research outpost." Turner's blood ran cold. He opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, alarms blared across the bridge. "Multiple Draconis signatures detected," Chen shouted. "They're emerging from Titan's far side. It's a trap." Turner's mind raced. They were caught between the forces on Titan and the approaching Draconis fleet. The fate of his crew, the mission, and possibly the entire human race now hung in the balance. As he prepared to give the order that would determine their next move, Turner knew that whatever happened next would change the course of the war forever. Turner's eyes widened as the tactical display lit up with a swarm of Draconi signatures. The trap had sprung, and the Vengeance was caught in its jaws. "All hands, battle stations," he barked. "Chen, get us out of these rings. We need room to maneuver." As the Vengeance emerged from Saturn's rings, the true scale of their predicament became apparent. Draconis warships surrounded them, their weapon systems primed and ready. "Sir," Chen called out, her voice tense, "we're receiving a transmission from Titan. It's Major Gordon." Turner nodded sharply. "Put her through." Gordon's voice crackled over the comm, punctuated by the sound of weapons fire. "Captain, we've been compromised. Cloaking malfunction exposed us to their sensors. We've made an emergency landing on Titan's surface." Turner's mind raced, calculating their options. "Understood, Major. What's your status?" "We've abandoned the shuttle and are proceeding on foot to the facility. Captain, this place is massive. Far larger than our intel suggested. We'll need more time." "Time is the one thing we don't have, Major," Turner replied grimly. "We've got the entire Draconis fleet breathing down our necks. Complete your mission as quickly as possible. We'll do what we can to keep them off your back." As Turner ended the transmission, a new alert pinged on his console. An encrypted message originating from within Saturn's rings. "Captain," the communications officer called out, "you need to see this." Turner quickly scanned the message, his eyebrows rising in surprise. A Draconis defector offering intelligence on the Titan facility? He weighed the risks in his mind. It could be vital information, or it could be another trap. But in their current situation, they needed every advantage they could get. "Prepare a shuttle," Turner ordered. "I'm going to meet this Lysithea personally." "Sir," Chen protested, "it's too dangerous. We need you here." Turner shook his head. "This could be the key to understanding what we're up against. I need to assess the situation myself." He turned to his first officer. "Commander, you have the bridge. Keep the Draconis occupied, but avoid direct engagement if possible. We need to buy time for Gordon's team and my meeting with Lysithea." As Turner's shuttle departed, the space around Saturn erupted into chaos. High Admiral Zexkral's forces launched a full-scale assault on the Vengeance, their energy weapons lighting up the void. On Titan's surface, Gordon and her team pushed through the moon's hostile environment. Methane rain pelted their suits as they trudged through icy slush and navigated around vast lakes of liquid hydrocarbons. "There," Gordon pointed, her voice low, "the facility perimeter." The Draconis base loomed before them, a sprawling complex of interconnected structures that dwarfed anything they had anticipated. Reinforced walls rose high into Titan's hazy atmosphere, filled with weapon emplacements and sensor arrays. "Stealth approach is compromised," Gordon's second-in-command muttered. "How do you want to play this?" Gordon's eyes narrowed behind her visor. "We go in hard and fast. Use their overconfidence against them. They'll expect us to retreat, not to push forward." The team nodded, checking their weapons one last time before Gordon gave the signal. They surged forward, using the rocky terrain for cover as they approached the facility's outer defenses. Alarms blared as they breached the perimeter. Genetically enhanced Draconis soldiers poured out of the facility, their scaled forms towering over the human infiltrators. Gordon's team moved with practiced precision, their weapons cutting down the first wave of defenders. They pushed deeper into the facility, fighting their way through corridors filled with strange equipment and sealed containment units. "Major," one of her team called out, gesturing to a nearby terminal. "I think I found something." Gordon covered him as he quickly downloaded data from the Draconis systems. Her eyes widened as she glanced at the information scrolling across his portable screen. "This is it," she breathed. The bioweapon data, and by God, they're using human prisoners as test subjects. A cold fury settled in Gordon's chest. Change of plans, she announced to her team. We're not leaving without those prisoners. Meanwhile, in the void of space near Saturn's rings, Turner's shuttle approached a small, nondescript vessel. As he drew near, he saw a lone figure in an environmental suit waiting in the airlock. The figure raised its hands, showing it was unarmed, and Turner docked his shuttle. With a hiss of equalizing pressure, the airlock opened, revealing a Draconis female. "Captain Turner," she said, her voice carrying a slight sibilant accent. "I am Lysithea. We don't have much time." Turner nodded, his hand never straying far from his sidearm. "Talk fast, then. What can you tell me about the Titan facility?" Lysithea's eyes darted nervously to the sensors displaying the ongoing battle. "It's not just a research outpost. It's the heart of the Draconis Empire's biological warfare program. They're weaponizing human DNA, creating a virus that could wipe out your entire species." Turner's blood ran cold. How close are they to completing it? "Too close," Lysithea replied grimly. "But that's not all. Zexkral has—" Her words were cut off as a massive explosion rocked both ships. Turner stumbled, grabbing onto a nearby console for support. "Draconis attack ships," Lysithea cried out. "They found us." Turner's mind raced. He had to get this information back to the Vengeance, but they were cut off. As energy blasts streaked past the viewport, he made a split-second decision. "Come with me," he ordered Lysithea. "We're getting out of here." Back on Titan, Gordon's team fought their way deeper into the facility. They had managed to free a group of human prisoners, gaunt and traumatized individuals who could barely walk without assistance. "We're almost to the hangar," Gordon called out. "Once we secure a transport, we can—" Her words were drowned out by a deafening explosion. The facility shook, alarms blaring even louder than before. "What was that?" one of her team shouted. Gordon's response died in her throat as she looked out a nearby viewport. In the sky above Titan, a massive space battle raged. The Vengeance was there, outnumbered but fighting valiantly against a swarm of Draconis ships. "Change of plans," Gordon announced, her voice tight. "We're going to steal that transport, but our extraction just got a lot more complicated." As Gordon's team secured a Draconis shuttle and began their ascent from Titan's surface, Turner's commandeered vessel emerged from Saturn's rings, pursued closely by Draconis attack ships. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Chen watched in horror as the situation spiraled further out of control. Multiple Draconis signatures were converging on their position, led by the imposing form of Zexkral's flagship. "Ma'am," the tactical officer called out, his voice strained. "We can't hold them off much longer. Our shields are failing and we've lost weapons on the port side." Chen gritted her teeth, her hands gripping the arms of the command chair. "Where's the captain?" she demanded. As if in answer, Turner's voice crackled over the comm. "Vengeance, this is Turner. Prepare for emergency docking. We've got critical intelligence and a Draconis defector." Chen's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly barked out orders to clear the main hangar bay. As Turner's ship streaked towards the Vengeance, she spotted another vessel approaching from Titan. "Captain," she called out, "when we've got another ship incoming, it's a Draconis transport." "That's gotta be Gordon," Turner replied. "Get them aboard, fast. We're leaving this system." The next few minutes were chaos as both ships docked amid heavy enemy fire. The Vengeance shuddered under the assault, its shields flickering dangerously. "All hands, brace for emergency jump." Turner's voice rang out as he sprinted onto the bridge. "Helm, get us out of here, now!" With a gut-wrenching lurch, the Vengeance activated its faster-than-light drive. The stars streaked into lines, and Saturn vanished from view, replaced by the inky blackness of deep space. As the ship decelerated from its jump, the crew let out a collective breath. They had escaped, but the cost had been high. The Vengeance was damaged, its crew exhausted, and they were now far from any Allied support. Turner looked around the bridge, taking in the determined faces of his crew. They had accomplished their mission against impossible odds, but he knew this was only the beginning. With the intelligence they had gathered and the rescued prisoners, they now held the key to understanding the true nature of the Draconis threat. As damage reports flooded in and the rescued humans were taken to medical, Turner's mind was already racing, planning their next move. The fate of humanity now rested on their shoulders, and he was determined not to let this opportunity slip away. Turner exhaled slowly as the Vengeance decelerated from its emergency jump. The bridge fell silent, the crew's relief palpable but short-lived. Warning lights flashed across every console, and the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air. "Damage report," Turner barked, his eyes scanning the tactical display. Chen's fingers flew across her console. "Hull integrity at 47%, Captain. Multiple breaches on decks 3 through 7. Life support is stable, but we've lost weapons control on the port side. FTL drive is offline." Turner nodded grimly. "Initiate emergency repairs. I want all available personnel on it. Chen, you have the bridge. I'm heading to medical to check on our gay guests." As Turner strode through the corridors, he saw his crew working feverishly to patch hull breaches and reroute power. The ship groaned and creaked around him, a wounded beast limping away from the battlefield. In the medical bay, Turner found organized chaos. Doctors and nurses rushed between beds, tending to the rescued human prisoners. The captives' gaunt faces and haunted eyes told a story of unimaginable suffering. Dr. Reeves approached, her face drawn with concern. "Captain, these people have been through hell. Signs of prolonged malnutrition, extensive scarring consistent with repeated surgical procedures. But there's something else." She lowered her voice. "Their cellular structure shows signs of manipulation. We're running more tests, but whatever the Draconis did to them, it goes beyond simple torture." Turner's face hardened. "Keep me updated on their condition, and doctor, you do whatever you can for them." Leaving the medical bay, Turner made his way to the science lab where Major Gordon and her team were analyzing the stolen data. He found Gordon hunched over a holographic display, her eyes darting between streams of information. "Major, what have you found?" Gordon looked up, her expression a mix of horror and hope. "Sir, it's both better and worse than we thought. The Draconis bioweapon is specifically tailored to human DNA. It targets a genetic marker present in all of us." Turner frowned. "How is that better?" "Because it means the weapon won't affect other species," Gordon explained. "And more importantly, it gives us a specific target for developing a countermeasure. We might be able to create a genetic vaccine, something to alter or mask that marker." Before Turner could respond, his comm unit crackled to life. "Captain," Chen's voice came through, tense and urgent. "We're receiving a transmission from a small craft approaching our position. It's Lysithea, sir. She's requesting permission to dock." Turner's mind raced. The Draconis defector had proven valuable so far, but allowing her aboard was a significant risk. After a moment's hesitation, he made his decision. "Grant her permission, but have a full security team meet her in the hangar. I want her under constant surveillance." As Turner made his way to the hangar, alarms blared throughout the ship. Chen's voice echoed over the comm system. "Captain, to the bridge, immediately. We're detecting a massive energy surge near Pluto's orbit." Turner sprinted to the bridge, arriving just in time to see a swirling vortex materialize on the main view screen. His heart pounded as a massive ship emerged from the wormhole, unmistakably human in design. "Sir," Chen reported, her voice filled with awe, "we're being hailed by the HCS Retribution. It's Fleet Admiral Volkov." Turner straightened his uniform, keenly aware of his ship's battered state. On screen, Admiral Volkov's stern face appeared before them. His eyes narrowed as he took in the Vengeance's bridge. "Captain Turner, your distress signal reached us earlier than expected. Report." Turner quickly briefed the Admiral on their mission to Titan, the Draconis trap, and the critical intelligence they'd gathered. Volkov listened intently, his expression growing darker with each passing moment. You've done well, Captain, Volkov said finally, but I'm afraid we have little time to celebrate. Our long-range sensors detected Zexakral's fleet on an intercept course. They'll be here within the hour. As if on cue, Chen called out, "Multiple Draconis signatures detected, sir. The scale-bearer is leading them." Turner's mind raced. The Vengeance was in no condition for another battle, and even with the retribution, they were outnumbered. "Admiral, we need to retreat. Fall back to the staging area and regroup with the rest of the fleet." Volkov nodded grimly. "Agreed. But how do you propose we outrun Zexakral's ships? Your vessel can barely maintain impulse power." A new voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "I believe I can help with that." Turner turned to see Lysithea enter, flanked by security officers. The Draconis defector held up a small data crystal. "I brought more than just my knowledge, Captain. I have the control codes for the Draconis defense network. With your permission, I can temporarily disable Zexakral's fleet." Turner exchanged a look with Volkov. The risk was great, but the potential reward even greater. After a moment's hesitation, Turner nodded. "Do it." Lysithea inserted the crystal into a nearby console and began inputting a complex sequence of commands. On the screen, the approaching Draconis fleet suddenly went dark, their engines sputtering out. "Now, Captain," Lysithea urged. "The effect won't last long." Turner didn't hesitate. "Helm, set course for the wormhole. Maximum available speed." He turned to the view screen. "Admiral, we're right behind you." The Retribution plunged into the swirling vortex, the Vengeance limping after it. As they emerged on the other side, Turner let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Before them stretched the vast armada of the human invasion fleet, hundreds of ships arrayed in battle formation. Admiral Volkov's voice came over the comm once more. "All ships, prepare for immediate war council. Captain Turner, Major Gordon, and our Draconis guest are to report to the Retribution at once. We have much to discuss, and time is not on our side." As Turner prepared to leave the Vengeance, he cast a final glance around the bridge. His crew had performed admirably under impossible odds, but he knew their trials were just the beginning. The real battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and the decisions made in the coming hours would shape the fate of both humanity and the Draconis Empire. With a nod to Chen, Turner stepped into the turbolift, his mind already racing with strategies and contingencies. Whatever came next, he was determined to see this through to the end. The Vengeance would live up to its name, and humanity would reclaim its rightful place among the stars. The War Council chamber aboard the Retribution buzzed with tension as Admiral Volkov called the meeting to order. Captain Turner stood at attention, his uniform still bearing scorch marks from the Vengeance's recent battle. Major Gordon sat nearby, her eyes darting between the holographic display of the Sol system and the Draconis defector, Lysithea, who waited silently in the corner under heavy guard. "Ladies and gentlemen," Volkov began, his voice grave, "the intelligence gathered by Captain Turner and Major Gordon has given us an unprecedented opportunity. We now understand the nature of the Draconis bioweapon and have a potential countermeasure. It's time we took the fight to the enemy." The Admiral's words hung in the air for a moment before he continued. "I am authorizing a full-scale assault on the Sol system. Our objective, reclaim Earth." A murmur rippled through the assembled officers. Turner felt his heart race at the prospect of finally returning home. Volkov turned to Turner. "Captain, your experience with Draconis tactics is invaluable. I'm assigning you command of our new flagship, the HCS Nemesis. You'll lead the primary battle group against the Draconis fleet near Jupiter." Turner nodded, his mind already formulating strategies. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." The Admiral then addressed Gordon. "Major, I need your expertise on the ground. You'll be leading a special operations team to infiltrate and sabotage key Draconis installations. Your first target is their superweapon facility in the asteroid belt." Gordon's eyes gleamed with persistence. "Understood, Admiral. My team will be ready." As the meeting concluded, Turner approached Gordon. "Be careful out there, Major. That enhancement data you recovered. I hope it gives your team the edge they need." Gordon smiled grimly. It better. We're going to need every advantage we can get. Hours later, Turner stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, marveling at the advanced systems that surrounded him. The ship hummed with power, a testament to human ingenuity and the lessons learned from the Vengeance. "All ships report ready, Captain," his XO announced. Turner took a deep breath. "Signal the fleet. Commence Operation Homecoming." The human armada surged forward, thousands of ships jumping to FTL in perfect synchronization. As they exited near Jupiter, the Draconis fleet came into view, a mass of sleek, deadly vessels led by the imposing form of Zexkral's scale-bearer. "Battle stations," Turner ordered. "Launch fighters and engage at will. Keep the Draconis focused on us." The space around Jupiter erupted into chaos as human and Draconis ships clashed. Energy weapons lanced across the void. Fighter squadrons danced between capital ships, and explosions bloomed like silent flowers in the darkness. Turner's mind raced as he coordinated the attack, drawing on every lesson he'd learned in his previous encounters with the Draconis. Cruiser Group 3, focus fire on the Draconis center. Destroyers flank their left and target their propulsion systems. The human ships moved with practiced precision, their advanced technology allowing them to penetrate Draconis shields and deal significant damage. But High Admiral Zexkral was a formidable opponent, his tactical acumen keeping the battle evenly matched. As Turner called out orders, Lysithea approached him, her voice low. "Captain, I'm detecting a shift in Zexkral's formation. Based on Draconis doctrine, he's likely preparing to deploy their biological weapon." Turner's eyes narrowed. "Alert all ships, prepare to activate countermeasures on my mark." Moments later, a wave of sickly green energy pulsed out from the Draconis fleet. Turner held his breath, watching as the glow washed over the human ships. "Countermeasures holding, sir," his science officer reported. "Minimal effects detected on our crews." A cheer went up on the bridge as the Draconis weapon fizzled harmlessly against the human defenses. Turner allowed himself a small smile before refocusing on the battle at hand. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, Gordon's team moved silently through the twisted corridors of the Draconis superweapon facility. Their genetically enhanced bodies allowed them to move with inhuman speed and strength, but they soon encountered resistance they hadn't expected. "Contact," Gordon hissed as a group of Draconis guards rounded the corner. But these weren't ordinary soldiers. They moved with the same enhanced speed as Gordon's team. The corridor erupted into a blur of motion as the two groups clashed. Gordon ducked under a Draconis energy blade, her augmented reflexes allowing her to counter with a devastating series of strikes. Around her, her team fought with equal ferocity, the close quarters amplifying the intensity of the combat. As the last Draconis fell, Gordon caught her breath. "Everyone okay? We need to move faster. If they have enhanced guards, they might be closer to activating this thing than we thought." The team pushed deeper into the facility, fighting through more waves of enhanced Draconis soldiers. Finally, they reached the central chamber, where the superweapon's massive power core pulsed with ominous energy. Gordon's eyes widened as she took in the readouts. "It's almost operational. We don't have time to plan a controlled shutdown." She turned to her demolitions expert. "Sergeant, how fast can you rig this thing to overload?" As her team worked to sabotage the core, Gordon accessed a nearby terminal, downloading what data she could. Her blood ran cold as she decrypted the information. "Team, double time it. We need to get this intel back to the fleet ASAP." Back on the Nemesis, Turner found himself locked in a deadly dance with Zexkral's scale-bearer. The two ships circled each other, trading salvos that lit up the Jovian sky. "Evasive pattern Delta," Turner called out as the scale-bearer unleashed another barrage. The Nemesis shuddered under the impact, but its advanced shields held. Lysithea worked furiously at her console, providing invaluable insights into Draconis tactics. Suddenly, her hands froze over the controls, her face paling. "Captain," she said, her voice trembling, "I'm receiving a transmission from the Draconis command. They have my family on Mars. They're threatening to execute them if I don't sabotage the Nemesis." Turner's mind raced. The information Lysithea provided was crucial, but if she turned on them now, it could cost them the battle and any chance of retaking Earth. Before he could respond, his tactical officer called out, "Sir, long-range sensors are detecting a massive energy surge near Pluto's orbit. It's another Draconis fleet." Turner's grip tightened on his command chair. The battle hung in the balance, with Gordon's team still unaccounted for and a new threat looming on the horizon. As the scalebearer lined up for another attack run, Turner knew the decisions he made in the next few moments would shape the fate of humanity for generations to come. Turner's mind raced as he processed the tactical officer's report. The approaching Draconis fleet near Pluto threatened to overwhelm their forces, potentially undoing all they had accomplished. In that moment of crisis, an audacious plan crystallized in his mind. "Helm, disengage from the scalebearer," Turner ordered, his voice steady despite the tension coursing through him. "Set course to intercept the incoming Draconis reinforcements." His crew responded with practiced efficiency, the Nemesis breaking away from its deadly dance with Zexkral's flagship. As they accelerated towards the new threat, Turner turned to his chief engineer. "Prepare the quantum entanglement drive for activation," he commanded. "We're going to give our new friends a welcome they won't forget." The engineer's eyes widened, but he nodded, fingers flying over his console. The experimental drive hummed to life, filling the ship with an eerie resonance that seemed to vibrate through reality itself. As the Nemesis closed in on the lead ships of the Draconis reinforcements, Turner gave the order. "Activate the drive, now!" Space itself seemed to twist and fold around them. A swirling vortex of energy engulfed the Nemesis and the front line of the Draconis fleet. In an instant, they were wrenched across the solar system, reappearing in the orbit of Venus. Alarms blared on the Nemesis's bridge as the ship's systems struggled to reorient, but Turner was ready. "All weapons, fire at will," he shouted. "Target their capital ships." The Nemesis unleashed a devastating barrage against the disoriented Draconis vessels. Energy beams lanced out, punching through shields weakened by the quantum jump. Missiles found their marks with unerring precision, detonating in brilliant flashes that illuminated Venus's cloud-shrouded surface. On the main view screen, Turner watched with grim satisfaction as several Draconis capital ships listed, their hulls breached and venting atmosphere. The enemy's formation had been shattered, their carefully planned assault turned into chaos. As the Draconis scrambled to respond, Turner noticed a massive structure on Venus's surface. Realization dawned on him. This was no mere outpost, but a backup superweapon. "Tactical, analyze that facility," Turner ordered. "We need to take it out before—" His words were cut short as a comm channel crackled to life. Major Gordon's voice came through, tense but determined. "Nemesis, this is Gordon. My team is inbound to your position. We have critical intel on a Draconis superweapon on Venus, requesting support for immediate planetfall." Turner's lips curled into a tight smile. "Understood, Major. We'll clear you a path. Prepare for orbital drop on my mark." The Nemesis pivoted, bringing its formidable weapons to bear on Venus's orbital defenses. As Gordon's stealth ship approached, Turner coordinated a precision strike, carving a corridor through the Draconis defensive screen. "Major, you have your window. Good hunting," Turner said, watching as Gordon's ship streaked past, releasing a cluster of drop pods towards the Venusian surface. With Gordon's team planetside, Turner refocused on the space battle. The Draconis reinforcements were regrouping, but the element of surprise had given the human forces a decisive advantage. Amidst the chaos of the battle, Turner received a transmission from Admiral Volkov. The older man's face was etched with grit as he outlined a daring strategy. "Captain, we're executing a flanking maneuver using Jupiter's gravity," Volkov explained. "Prepare to catch Zexkral's forces in a pincer movement." Turner acknowledged the order, maneuvering the Nemesis to herd the scattered Draconis ships into position. As Volkov's fleet surged around Jupiter's massive bulk, accelerated by the gas giant's gravity, the trap was sprung. Caught between the hammer of Volkov's main force and the anvil of Turner's Nemesis, the Draconis fleet began to crumble. Ships exploded in silent bursts of fire and debris, their destruction visible even from Venus's orbit. But Turner's attention was drawn back to the planet below as Gordon's voice came through once more, urgent and strained. "Nemesis, we've sabotaged the weapon, but it's more than we thought. It's a terraforming device, meant to make Venus habitable for the Draconis and lethal for humans. The facility is collapsing and we're cut off. We need immediate extraction." Turner's mind raced, calculating trajectories and survival odds. The Nemesis was a capital ship, never meant for atmospheric entry, but the alternative was leaving Gordon and her team to die. "Helm, plot a course into Venus's atmosphere," Turner ordered, his voice brooking no argument. "Engineering, divert all available power to shields and structural integrity." The Nemesis plunged into Venus's toxic clouds, its hull groaning under the strain. Turbulence rocked the ship as they descended, the external temperature climbing to dangerous levels. Through the maelstrom, Turner spotted the collapsing facility. Debris rained down around them as he guided the ship towards a precarious landing near the main hangar. "Major, we're at your exit point," Turner called out. "You've got one shot at this. Move." Tense seconds ticked by as Turner watched the facility crumble around them. Then suddenly figures emerged from the smoke and haze. Gordon's team sprinted across the gap, leaping into the Nemesis's open hangar bay, moments before a massive explosion rocked the planet's surface. "We're aboard," Gordon's voice crackled through the comm. "Get us out of here." Turner didn't need to be told twice. The Nemesis strained against Venus's gravity, its engines screaming as they climbed back into orbit. As they broke free of the atmosphere, the view behind them was obscured by a colossal dust cloud rising from where the Draconis facility had been. Emerging back into the space battle, Turner saw that the tide had decisively turned. The human fleet had the remaining Draconis forces surrounded, with Zexkral's scalebearer at the center of the shrinking pocket. As the Nemesis rejoined the fray, Turner watched the scalebearer make a final desperate charge directly at them. Drawing upon every lesson learned in his long career, every edge provided by the Nemesis's advanced systems, Turner prepared for the final confrontation with the Draconis admiral. The two ships closed in on each other, weapons blazing in a spectacular light show that illuminated the battlefield. Turner's hands flew over his controls, the Nemesis responding to his every command with preternatural precision. In a blinding exchange of fire, the Nemesis threaded through the scalebearer's barrage. Turner targeted a critical weak point in the Draconis flagship's defenses, one he had noticed during their earlier duel. "Fire everything we've got," Turner ordered, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. The Nemesis unleashed its full arsenal, a concentrated stream of destructive energy that pierced the scalebearer's shields and struck true. For a moment, the Draconis ship seemed to hang motionless in space. Then, with a silent flash, it erupted into a massive explosion, the shockwave buffeting the Nemesis as debris scattered across the battlefield. With their admiral gone and their forces in disarray, the remaining Draconis ships began to retreat. Victory alarms sounded throughout the human fleet as the last enemy vessels jumped away, leaving the Sol system free of Draconis control for the first time in 3 millennia. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Turner stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, his gaze fixed on the console. There, partially obscured by the aftermath of the battle, hung a blue and white marble, Earth, their long-lost home. Turner's throat tightened with emotion as he regarded the planet. After so many generations in exile, after countless battles and sacrifices, humanity had finally reclaimed its birthright. But as he watched his crew celebrate around him, Turner knew that the real work was just beginning. The Earth they were returning to was not the one their ancestors had left. 3,000 years of Draconis occupation had left their mark, and adapting to their changed homeworld would be a monumental task. And beyond Earth, there were still Draconis forces to contend with, diplomatic bridges to build with potential allies, and the vast expanse of the galaxy to explore. As the Nemesis set course for Earth, Turner allowed himself a moment of reflection. They had won a great victory, but it was only the beginning of humanity's next great adventure.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.